Yo, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy Zithy here, and I'm back at it again to drop What If Deku Had Ultra Ego. Now guys, this video is not going to be like my usual My Hero Academia what ifs that I usually do, where Deku starts off super broken. Actually, we're pretty much going to be starting where the main story starts, and not a lot is actually going to be changing. That being said though, before we do get into the video, I do have to let you guys know that this video is going to be a sponsored one, so midway through the video I will be telling you guys about that. That being said though guys, make sure to go down below in the links on my description to join my Discord server if you haven't already, as well as check out my thumbnail maker, Thank God. He makes some of the sickest thumbnails out in the game, so it would mean a lot if you guys went over to subscribe to his channel or just check them out in general. That being said though guys, I hope you guys go on to enjoy the What If. Alright, so like I said at the beginning, we're pretty much going to be starting off our story right where we do in the original. Now, nothing in canon is actually going to be changing at all. Nothing in terms of Deku's childhood, Deku's appearance, or really anything in the story at all. Bakugo still would have ended up bullying Deku, and we're pretty much going to be starting off the first day of the My Hero Academia story. Of course, we're going to be starting off with a 14-year-old Deku in the back of the classroom. Now, at this point, Deku's about 2 months from having it actually be his birthday, and Deku would just be in the back of the classroom with his head down, you know, just writing down some notes about the previous hero incident from today, you know, where what was his name, Kamui Woods and Mount Lady came in and they did their thing, you know, all that stuff. Then Deku would obviously just kind of sit in the classroom as his teacher would walk inside, and he would pretty much proceed to be like, hello guys. So normally I would come in and tell you guys to fill out these, you know, these future apprehension forms, but I know you all want to become heroes, and he would throw the papers all over the air, to which all of the students would pretty much get pretty excited, and they would all start flashing around their quirks. This is when the teacher would look through his list and pretty much just call Deku out, completely calling this man out, even though, like, bro, come on now. Any teacher with the right mind would have known not to do that. But he would just be like, yeah, Izuku Midoriya, you want to go to UA? You know, he would call him out. And Deku, of course, being himself, would hide under his, you know, book and just be like, yeah. As he would say, I know it's dumb, but as Bakugo would just come in at Deku and blast an explosion, being like, Deku, you're the worst of these rejects. You shouldn't even be applying to a hero stone, let alone coming to the same one that I'm going to be going to. I'll crush you if you attempt it. The teacher would look at Deku and just say, I mean, as much as I would hate to agree with Bakugo, he does have a point. Hero schools are for, well, heroes, Izuku, and you don't even have a quirk. Deku would say, but they got rid of that rule. There's you know, there's normal classes. As Bakugo would shoot an explosion at Deku's desk, sending him flying, and Deku would just be in fear. After this, of course, we would still have the normal My Hero Academia stuff, where Deku and Bakugo kind of have a little bit of a standoff, where Bakugo's like, you're gonna do something about it. He would blow up his book and throw it into the pond, where Deku would end up picking it up, being told that he should just jump off the roof. Deku would not listen, and of course, he's gonna end up walking outside. Now, I bet many of you guys are wondering, yo, dude, what's going on, dude? Like, why is Deku not using Ultra Ego? Why is this man not bending Bakugo over and just smacking a man on a booty? Well, to put it lightly, guys, it's because Deku's Ultra Ego in this version is not exactly going to be some actual Ultra Ego that's like related to the gods of destruction. Now, it is going to be an Ultra Ego transformation, which Deku is going to be needing in a sense, he's going to be needing in a sense of desperation and just complete berserk. Like he's going to be needing to be in like a berserk nature of just like he needs to rely on his animalistic instincts to be able to actually access Ultra Ego. Now, seeing as Deku, you know, obviously he's been picked on, but isn't it like Deku's been like hurt or anything like crazy? I mean, maybe a couple times, because it's like kids do be going a little crazy sometimes, but nothing that would make him, you know, kind of feel like his life is in any kind of risk. You know what I mean? So Deku would of course pick up his book from the pond, and this is where Deku's finally going to activate Ultra Ego for the first time. Deku would end up going into the alleyway, where Deku would basically just be walking around going, ah ha 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 ha, ah ha ha ha. And of course, Deku's pretty much just with his hand held high, his chest up, you know what I mean? This is when out of nowhere, the lid from the sewage tunnel would pretty much pop open and a green sludge would latch onto Deku as he would say, ah, perfect. He would grab onto Deku and Deku would immediately start flailing, be like, you know what I mean? The sludge villain would be like, don't worry, kid. I didn't know he was in town. He would then be like, but don't worry, kid. You'll be my hero. As he would basically start suffocating Deku. Now, this is when Deku would have so many thoughts going through his mind. All of his failures, all of the times where Deku wished he could have stood up to Bakugo, all of the times where he should have said something to the girls that he's liked, all of the failures and all of the what ifs that have ever crossed his mind would slowly just all start compiling together, causing Deku's eyes to just start glowing a weird purple aura. And Deku would pretty much just begin to be getting angrier and angrier as Deku would let himself fall into animalistic natures and his just bloodlusted state, as he would just explode a purple aura off of himself. Now, if you guys are thinking that this is God of Destruction key, it's not. Now, I'm not gonna lie, Ultra Ego is going to be heavily nerfed, because if I was to give Deku the actual Ultra Ego, the story would end now. Deku would quite literally go on to destroy the sludge villain, destroy All for One, and raps. You know, that actually does sound like a pretty great story. No, I'm totally kidding. No, but seriously, in this version of events, the storyline isn't going to be all about if Deku can or can't defeat characters. It's about Deku. Actually, I'm not going to spoil anything, all right? All right, look, let's keep going. So Deku would pretty much explode with this aura as his eyes would change. He would, of course, keep his eyebrows because I'm not about to do this man Deku dirty. His hair color would change from green to purple as his hair would stand up in a sort of Super Saiyan transformation form. Lightning sparks would just go around Deku as he would walk towards the sludge villain slowly. As he would pretty much just walk towards it, the sludge villain would shoot a hand straight at Deku and Deku would let it hit him. Deku would proceed to walk towards him, similar to what a lion would look like if it was walking up to you ready to kill you. Now, Deku would pretty much aim his hand straight at the sludge villain as he would be ready to pretty much blast it, sending it straight off to hell. But this is when All Might would come in and say, I am here! Deku, for a slight instant, would kind of turn over to All Might as he would see All Might there, and Deku would immediately snap out of this state, this concentrated state that he was in. Deku would immediately be like, All Might! As he would look towards him, and All Might would look at Deku aiming his hand at the villain, as the sludge villain would just be trembling in fear. All Might didn't even make the sludge villain feel that way himself, so he would look at Deku and just kind of turn his head as he's like, what happened here, young man? Deku would say, I don't know. As he would look at how close he is to a villain and be like, ah, you know, jump back. He'd be like, a villain. Deku All Might would just come in and be like, Texas smash. As you know, he blows the sludge villain away. And Deku just talks to All Might a little bit. All Might would be like, what happened here, young man? As Deku would look at All Might and just be like, I don't know. All Might would just be like, what do you mean? Deku would say, well, all I remember was getting trapped inside the sludge villain and feeling as if I was gonna die, but out of nowhere I just passed out and 3 seconds later the sludge villain's in front of me. He would then breathe in and just like exhale, be like, my quirk! What if it was my quirk? All Might would say, what's your quirk, young man? As Deku would say, I don't know. I was classified as quirkless from a young age, but I mean, you never know. I might have gotten it just now. Might be a late bloomer. And All Might would look right at Deku as he would say, maybe. He would then pretty much bottle up the sludge villain as he would say, hey kid, how about I take you to a quirk doctor? As Deku would say, no need, but All Might, is there any way I can get your autograph? Deku would just be in such a great mood as All Might would give him his autograph and Deku would just say, thanks. This is when Deku would walk off. As All Might would say, what a strange kid. He would bottle up the sludge villain, taking him away. As Deku would rush home, telling his mom that they need to go to a quirk doctor now. Now, this is when Inko would pretty much take Deku to a quirk doctor, where they would end up telling him that, well, it seems that he has no sign of quirk. Deku would say, but how did I? As the doctors would just say, well, maybe in a state of panic, you passed out and, you know, another hero rescued you or something. Deku would look down as he would just be thinking that probably. As this is when the doctors would look at the notes and be like, wait. They would look up at Deku and say, there might be a chance that you may have a quirk, but it may be one that can only be seen as active during certain moments. See, we took an x-ray of you a couple of years back, and now that we took another one, it seems as if something within you's changed. or at least a little bit. There seems to be small amounts of fragments of and bits of power that left your body just a couple hours ago. Deku would look at him as he would say, so you're saying there's a chance? As the doctor would say, that's exactly what I'm saying, young man. Deku would then look at the doctors. He would say, yes! Jumping up, being excited. He and his mom would leave, and Deku would look at his mom as he would say, Mom, I don't know what my quirk is, but if I have one, then my life could change. I could finally go into a hero school. Deku would be pretty happy, and Inko would just kind of be like, yeah, Izuku, kind of just doubting him, not really believing that he even has a quirk. As, Deku would just look at his mom saying, yeah, it's awesome. I can't wait to show it off. Deku would be extremely happy as, of course, he ends up going home. And for the next following 10 months, Deku was pretty much just going to be doing hand-to-hand training as well as trying to tap into the Ultra Ego form, but not once. Not once during the 10 months of training would he end up tapping into it. About 6 months into it, Deku would be cleaning Dagoma Beach without being told by All Might or anything, but just to build up his physical strength. And in this version, Deku has actually been able to build up his physical strength a lot higher because the last little bits of Ultra Ego kind of stayed in his base form, I guess you could say. And it kind of enhanced his physical strength a little bit. Nothing crazy, maybe like a little bit of a 0.2% boost, nothing insane, but he definitely got a little bit of a boost. Like before, let's say he can pick up like 10 weight dumbbells, now he can do 20s, which is like a 2 times increase. But when you're talking about like 1 times 2, it's not really that big of a difference, you know what I mean? But yeah, Deku definitely does get a little stronger. But that being said, he continues training, and into the 6-month mark, he would be in the sand as he drops the fridge that he was carrying, and he would say, damn it, I can't awaken my quirk. Nothing I do works. He would just hit at the ground as he would say, damn it, damn it, damn it. He would just be pounding at the ground, cursing, thinking that maybe he doesn't have a quirk. His rage would consume Deku as Deku would pretty much just look down at the ground and see a reflection of himself, as he would see that just for a slight second, his eyes would have gone a bright flash of purple. As Deku would say, I'm not seeing things, am I? He would look over again as he would see his eyes green once more, and Deku would just say, I do have a quirk. Deku would then basically try to remember that feeling for the next 4 months, as by the end of it, Deku would finally realize what it is. It's when Deku lets all of his sense of rationality go that Deku is able to tap into this power. Now, Deku views this quirk or ability as something that may be a curse. I mean, it's not in Deku's nature to have something like Ultra Ego. That's for people like Bakugo or Vegeta, you know what I mean? It's not for people like Goku or Deku who are pure-hearted with kind natures, you know? It's hard for people like them to use because it's simply not in them to use a power such as Ultra Ego. So Deku's kind of going to be struggling with this idea of like, what does he do? You know what I mean? He doesn't exactly know how to handle this great power which was vested to him out of nowhere, and like out of nowhere, for no reason. And so Deku would kind of just meditate a little bit and train his mind, body, and soul, I guess you could say. As, he would basically start wondering, maybe he can just get stronger physically and that'll help him. And I mean, it will, because now Deku's not going to look like a twig with Ultra Ego on. He's actually going to look like he has a little bit of muscle on him. Now at this point, Deku would pretty much be built just as Bakugo is, nothing crazy. Deku is like pretty much at the same physical strength level as Bakugo, and Bakugo's strength level is actually pretty crazy. I mean, to be able to handle explosions that are just like shooting off and your limbs are able to support that, you have to be crazy strong. So being as strong as Bakugo is definitely a pretty good thing. That being said though, the 10-month mark exam would pretty much be coming in pretty soon, and it's at this point that Deku would kind of just be going in as he would get dropped off by his mother. Now during this time, Deku would be pretty strong physically, so if I was to say, he probably ends up destroying like 12 robots, but that's not really going to be the highlight of the quirk of the little entrance exam for UA. See, of course, he's going to have the written portion, which I'm completely just going to skip because nobody really cares about this stuff. Ida's not going to call Deku out because Deku's going to be too focused on thinking of how he's going to pass instead of thinking about the quirks and muttering and all this stuff. Deku's going to be changed a little bit. A little more confidence because now he believes he has a quirk and he has a chance. So Deku also has a little bit of a personality change where he's trying to like kind of put up a facade where he's trying to be Bakugo like instead of how he normally acts, because it seems that Deku has only ever been able to activate it once more after that time where he was angry, and it was in a time where Deku just fell into a state of rage and just pure just like he had to survive. Deku wasn't exactly able to call it forth like just instantly, you know what I mean? It's not something that he can do manually, but it's something that comes by in a moment of desperation. That being said though, Deku, he aces the test. He's a pretty smart kid. He ends up going outside, and like I said, President Mike is like, go, everybody goes. Deku ends up getting like 12 robot points by nothing but his pure physical strength. No quirk, no ultra ego, none of that stuff. By the way, guys, speaking of ultra ego, what do you guys think about the thumbnail? My boy Thank God went crazy. This thumbnail has to be one of the sickest ones. My only real complaint with it is that it's not covering his hand is covering the ego part, and I'm going to be having the thumbnail up on screen right now. Even though you guys already saw it in the thumbnail, I just gotta give it some more props, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, that being said though, this is when we would basically have Deku essentially just destroy a couple robots, you know what I mean? Nothing too crazy. But this is when about like 10 minutes would have gone by after Deku destroys like, let's say 8 more, and now Deku has accumulated a total of 20 robot points. Now, it's at this point that Deku would be at around the same spot that he was in canon, when out of nowhere the ground would begin to shake. Deku would look up as he would see a giant robot staring right at him, and Deku would just fall back in fear, thinking that there's no way anybody's gonna be able to beat that. Deku would look as everybody else is running, but he's frozen. Deku, he can't move. Deku would look towards Uraraka's direction as he would notice that there's a girl stuck in some rubble, but Deku was consumed with an overwhelming amount of fear. Deku wouldn't be able to get up, and Ida would rush over to Deku as he would say, let's go. He would grab him saying, just forget about her, some heroes will help her. As he would grab Deku, and something within Deku's psyche would just snap. Deku would just say, no, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna give in to the fear. Immediately, Deku would look up at the robot as he would just his aura would change, and Ida would leave, leaving Deku behind. Deku would look up at the robot as he would get up, legs trembling, just thinking that how is he gonna stand up to this monstrosity. Deku would then look at the robot as he would clench his fist, and for a brief instant, Ultra Ego would activate within Deku. Deku would blitz right at Uraraka before she can get stepped on completely, saving her, as Uraraka would just be blitzed straight over to Recovery Girl before she even knows what's going on. And Deku would blitz at the 0-pointer as he quite literally flies into the sky, punching the 0-pointer, causing the 0-pointer to get destroyed, dismantled completely. The 0-pointer would be eradicated because Deku threw a punch which was actually covered with the Ultra Ego power, so it basically got disintegrated, and everybody's jaws would have just dropped as Deku lands back on the ground and just passes out. The man just passed out due to exhaustion. Ultra Ego took a lot out of him, and this is the first time that he's ever used it for more than a brief instant. Deku pretty much proceeds to pass out and wake up a couple of hours later in his own bed. Recovery Girl would have ended up calling Inko, and she picks up Deku. Deku would have waken up the next day as, he kind of just is sad, thinking that, he probably didn't pass because he saw other kids racking up way more points than him. And not only that, but he just is sorry at the fact that that girl probably died. Deku would wake up as, of course, he'd get out of bed the first day and he would just be there with his mom as she asked him what happened, and Deku would just say he doesn't remember. She would say that that's okay, and that, she just hopes that he got in, as Deku would say that he does as well. He would basically wait for his UA acceptance letter as he's just not really hopeful for it, but when it arrives and Deku would open it, he would see that he passed. Deku, he passed. Deku would be exploding with so much happiness and just joy. Like, as Deku would just be like, I did it. Deku would be jumping around. He and his mother would be so happy, as in the video would be a replay of what Deku did. Now, Inko would actually be right beside Deku while he's, having the letter go off. And All Might's just telling Deku that he did a great job. We would see a video playing where Deku is pretty much moving in slow motion because they needed to slow it down for him to be even traced. As Deku blitzes at Uraraka, saving her, and his hair turned purple and it went up. Lightning electricity went off of him. He just looked like different. His aura was menacing, and Deku would blitz up into the air as he punches the little 0-pointer, causing it to disintegrate upon contact. As Inko would see this and just be like, my baby. She would look at Deku and just say, you have this much power? As Deku would just look at his mom and be like, I did that? Inko and Deku would both just be looking at each other just like, did he really, like, they would both be in utter disbelief, just thinking that there's no way that he did that. Inko, because, she just can't believe that her child, her baby did that. She can't believe he has that much strength in him. And Deku was just like, he's never thought that he was going to be able to have a quirk that powerful. But Deku would just look at his mother as she would say, that's it, Deku. I'm giving you your favorite food. What do you want tonight? Deku would end up telling her, and the very next day, they would pretty much end up, waking up after eating that giant feast. Deku would get his hero costume made, as I bet you guys won't be able to find out what Deku's costume is. Deku is, instead of having some crazy Ultra Ego Vegeta type costume, Deku's basically going to be having the Goku Black Gi. Pretty much is what Deku's costume is going to be. Now, it's going to have like a little writing on it, which pretty much just has the date where Deku first activated his quirk on the front. And on the back, it's going to have like the little Goku pattern on it, the little random symbol. Not exactly the Goku one, but like a martial arts symbol that Deku studies, which is going to be, let's say, Taiju. No, not Taijutsu. That's too broken. I don't want to make him that broken. He studies a form of martial arts known as... Well, what do the Shirai Ryu study? They do if you guys have played Mortal Kombat, he pretty much has the same fighting style as Scorpion, because Scorpion is a total menace, and so Deku Ultra Ego, I figured it fit. Now, of course, Deku's not exactly as good as Scorpion when he's in his normal base form, but when he has Ultra Ego, Deku does those moves so swiftly that it looks as if he was training with them ever since the day he was born. That being said, though, guys, this is when Deku would pretty much just be putting on his shoes for school. As he would look inside of his closet, he would see a hoodie in there and he would say, I wonder if any of the people watching this video are going to even buy anything from Fandom. As you guys may be wondering, what's Fandom? Well, let me explain. Fandom is an awesome anime merch apparel website, which you guys can get to by clicking the links down below in my description. One of them will take you to My Hero Academia merch, because I know a lot of my fans love that, and the other will take you to basically see the variety selection which they have. Up on screen right now, you guys should be seeing a bunch of choices that they have. They have My Hero, Naruto, Demon Slayer, Jujutsu Kaisen, One Piece, Dragon Ball, pretty much all the mainstream animes that you guys can think of. Fandom pretty much offers to you guys at a reasonable price, meaning that they're not giving it to you guys at the same price that you guys might find in like your stores that are nearby you. Of course, there might be a couple anime merches that might be a little cheaper, but look at the quality, man. Like, look at the quality. They fade, they get ugly, but when it comes to Fandom, they have awesome quality merch that you guys can get at a reasonable price. Not only that, but guys, they're having a 50% sale on their store. Not only that, but using code Zether, you can even get an extra 5% off on all of their items, actually. And I'm currently working to see if I can get you guys a 10% discount code, but not too sure if I'll be able to get that. So if I was you guys, I would definitely go check out Fandom now and use their 50% discount, because that's not going to last forever. So if you guys like any of the designs that are up on screen right now, then please consider clicking on Fandom and at least checking out their merch store, seeing as it helps out the channel a ton. It's basically like if you guys were buying my merch, except it's whatever you guys want from whatever favorite anime you guys want. That being said, that's pretty much it for the sponsor. Let's get right back into the what if. All right, guys, so I'm going to get back into the story, all right? Deku would see a hoodie inside as he would basically just smile, grab it as he would just throw it in his backpack and basically head off. Inko would end up dropping Deku off for his first day at UA as Deku would arrive at the front door of his classroom just being like, whoa, this door is huge. He would walk inside as he would see Bakugo arguing with Ida like, who put a stick up your, in the morning? As Ida would just be like, how dare you? He would just be all rude and all that stuff. And Deku would look at Ida as he would basically proceed to just be like, oh, that kid. He would basically walk over towards the back of the classroom as Bakugo would realize that Deku just walked in, and he would pretty much get pretty angry at that, having the same reaction that he does in canon. Deku would proceed to, well, essentially go through the rest of the, Go through the rest of, He would pretty much go through the rest of the, he would pretty much walk in the classroom, go to the back where he would sit down and away from Bakugo, and shortly after, Uraraka would walk into the classroom. She would immediately go up to Deku and she would say, "You're the boy who saved me, right?" She would say, "Your quirk, it's awesome." Deku would look at her as he would just say, thank you. Uraraka would say, "No, thank you. You saved my life." I mean, a hero always does need saving after all. Deku would say yes, he would smile, and Uraraka would just do the same. Deku would actually be able to have a normal interaction with Uraraka without even realizing it. As this is when Aizawa would wake up and just be like, alright, everybody meet me outside. Uraraka would just be like, what about orientation? Aizawa would just be like, no. And they would all basically go outside. It's at this point that everybody would get changed, of course, and meet outside. Aizawa would throw the ball straight at Bakugo as he would have ended up, he would throw it at Deku. Deku ended up getting, I believe it was like 40 rescue points or something like that, and ended up passing. So he's going to throw the ball at Deku because he ended up getting 20 points for robot points, plus let's say 50 points with destruction, and that totals out to 670. And let's just say Bakugo got 64 or something like that, So Deku ends up throwing the ball. Now, Aizawa would tell him to do it as strong as he can, and Deku would do it, getting a pretty, decent mark. He would get the same marking that Bakugo would get without his quirk. So, like, let's say 97 meters. After that, Deku would just look at Aizawa as Aizawa would just be like, he would just be thinking why Deku didn't show off that amazing power he had in the entrance exam, as he would just basically be like, why aren't you trying hard enough? Deku would look at Aizawa as he would say, what do you mean? And Aizawa would say, why aren't you using that power? As Deku would say, I really don't know how to use it quite yet. As Aizawa would look at Deku, would lift an eyebrow at that, just being like, pathetic. As he would say, I might have to expel this kid. After this, everybody would get excited, and Aizawa would give them the dilemma of basically, if you don't try your best and you lose, you're getting expelled. Everybody would freak out as they're just like, expelled? What? But we worked hard to get here. Everybody's freaking out, just like, you can't expel us. And Aizawa would just be like, I can do whatever I want. As, they're all just like, all right. And they, pretty much take the point. After this, they would all pretty much take the rest of the quirk apprehension test, as each and every single one of them would go up one by one. Now, Deku would get some impressive markings for somebody without a quirk, but Deku would kind of just go through it, getting like Bakugo type numbers if he wasn't using his quirk. You know what I mean? So it's nothing bad, but it's nothing impressive. If you're at UA, you have to get way better than what he's getting. And so the last event would, of course, be the ball throw. Now, Deku, once he gets there, he would realize that he's all the way at the bottom. He's pretty much a dog caged in a corner, and he's getting surrounded. Aizawa would look at Deku as he would tell him that if he doesn't get good markings, Deku's gonna lose it all. Deku would pretty much just proceed to essentially look at the ball as he would concentrate, trying to tap into Ultra Ego, but nothing. Deku for a split second would tap into it as his eyes would glow purple, and Aizawa and everybody around Deku would feel this aura of power. The wind would grow heavy as Deku would throw the ball. However, the second that he does it, the power would be lost, and Deku would get a normal marking. After this, Aizawa would look at Deku as he would write him down and just be like, come with me. This is when Deku would end up pretty much just being taken out of there, and Aizawa would look at Deku as he was about to say those words, you're expelled. But before anything can happen, you guys actually need to smash a grand total of 300 likes if you guys want this series to continue. Actually, not 300 likes is light work. You guys need to smash a grand, no, yeah, 300 likes. All right, yeah, let's go with 300 likes. Next video though, you guys are gonna be needing to smash 500 if you guys want the series to continue. So if you guys go on to smash 300 likes, then I will be continuing the series. If not, I will be making this series a one-shot. Hear me? One-shot series. Yep. I'm also going to be leaving down below in the comment section. So if you guys don't want the series, to just be stuck like this, then please do make sure to go down below and hit that like button, as well as consider subscribing if you like the video, like me, or any of my other content in general. That being said though, guys, I love each and every single one of you guys. It has been your boy Zether, and I am out. Peace.